Hey guys, this is Magamu. First of all, hi. Secondly, I remember seeing the Warframe 1999 trailer about 2 or so years ago, and that trailer completely blew my mind, man. Everything from the character designs to the futuristic yet relatable environments that it had going, and hot take, I think I personally may prefer Warframe 1999's more relatable Ghost in the Shell kind of techno futuristic rocker music video, cyberpunk 90s mashup probably a little bit more than I prefer Warframe's post-humanism dystopia vibes. Like, the trailer and the vibes are so beautiful, and I was so inspired that I feel like I need to download Unreal Engine and start making stuff too. I mean, that trailer pretty much turned me into the game developer that I wanted to be. So the first thing I wanted to do was remake that trailer just as a learning experience in Unreal Engine. And I ended up ripping it up and throwing it away because I just needed a template to learn from, and I was pretty much done with it. Next, I made my own thing, a third-person action combat game. It had swords and flips and acrobatics, but eventually after a few months, I had to rip that up anyway because even though it was pretty to watch and it had decent, visuals, I think, as far as a starter game dev, it just wasn't playable. I couldn't give it to you guys and let you play it, so it had to go. It looked cool, but the character attacks were kind of clunky. It had really bad frame rate. It was full of bugs, funny bugs, but it was full of bugs, so I couldn't distribute it. But just mostly, I couldn't let you guys play it, and that was the problem. So I went off for a year. I spent time with my friend Cyber making another game that we really wanted to make. That game comes out this year, by the way, so make sure you support it. I'll give you guys more information the closer we get to release. But with all the stuff I learned within that year of making the other game, it's time to take another crack at the third-person action game. So let's go from this to this to this. Now, just as a note, the inspiration here isn't just Warframe at this point. I enjoy games like Hades, I enjoy Arkham Knight, Nier Automata. These are games I completely love. So what is this game going to be in relation to those? Simply put, this is going to be a single player, third person action game with some replayability, melee attacks, dodging, that type of thing. Super simple game. The premise is pretty simple lore-wise. There's an AI uprising in the city. You fight your way through the city, putting the uprising down, destroying the machines and AI as you go along, and you keep getting stronger, building your character up as you go. Very much roguelike, but I don't really want to claim that right now, but it is replayable. You get upgrades. So if you want to call it a roguelike, that's totally fine. Now, let's break down the process because in order to make this game, we're going to need a few systems. We're doing this because the other game was completely unplayable, so let's do it right this time. The first thing is we need a melee combat system with combos, attacks that string together, attacks that string into more attacks. In order to do that, it has to be data driven. So the first thing I did was I built a weapon, I created a sword, I gave it its own attack slots, I filled those attack slots up with animations. The animations have timings, sound effects, damage, etc. It's a really clean system, and I did it that way so if I want to add another weapon in the future, like an axe or, I don't know, maybe a spear or something, it's going to be super easy to just slot that in and then add the data, animation, damage, and stuff to the new weapon. So it was super important to build it out as a system. The next thing, input queuing. Now, you guys might not notice in a lot of melee games, but there's almost always input queuing in any game that has melee attacks, from fighting games, PvP to PvE games like Warframe. Without an input queuing system, if you don't push the button at exactly the time that the last melee attack ends, then the weapon just won't swing. And you may think, get good, I'm the best at video games. No, it's the clunkiest thing ever, and it's absolutely not fun. So I had to build a system where if you push the button a little bit too early, the game would save that attack for a few milliseconds, and then if your attack ended, it would reapply the new attack without you pressing the button. Now that's pretty invisible to you because it's literally milliseconds, but it keeps the game from feeling clunky. Trust me, it is a world of difference between building a melee system and just having guns in your game. Like, you should have input queuing. Now, the next thing I needed was a better camera system. Because hitting enemies behind the camera proved to be really annoying. So I built a system that read how many enemies were around you, or at least on screen, and it just slightly pulls the camera back just a little bit so you can hit those enemies behind the camera. It made things a lot more easy to deal with. And finally, targeting. Now, this is one of the biggest things in the melee system, and I'm still working on this. I'm like on version 3. It's one of the most complicated things of the game. Essentially, if you're just swiping an enemy, there's a big chance that you can miss them in most melee games. Now, there are different ways to work around that. First of all, you can make the melee swing massive, where you just swing in a general direction and hit anything. Or you can create just a little bit of aim assist targeting, where you dart towards an enemy that you are just kind of on angle with, or slightly off angle, and the game will just slightly nudge you towards that enemy. It's not perfect, but I'm getting there, and I'm probably going to have like 5 more versions of this system before this game ends up being playable. So people won't hate me the first time they swing a melee and it feels totally bad. Now, the targeting ends up being used in a different system, dodging. Now, this is where things get a little bit controversial, because this is a simple game. So I wanted to combine systems like jumping and dodging into a single key press. And the way this works is when you dodge, it creates a shadow clone where you don't take damage. It's invincibility frames, like a fighting game. It slows down time just a little bit, so it gives you time to respond to the attack that was coming towards you. And it's going to give you small combat perks like faster attack speed, that type of stuff. It's going to be small and unnoticeable. But overall, the dodging system is super simplified. It's on the jump key, and it's used to avoid attacks. But let's say we want to simplify more. Let's say you want to dodge towards an enemy. Well, obviously you wanted to kick them in the face, so dodging towards an enemy attacks them, knocks them down, and it buys you a little bit of time so you can deal with some of the other enemies on your screen. Very Arkham Knight type of thing. Now, let's say you are dodging towards a wall. Well, obviously you want the wall bounce off of said wall. Now, I'm not going to get into the technical side of a wall bounce, because let's just say if you're in school right now, turn off this video, listen to your math teacher, because I did not properly listen to my 9th grade math teacher, and creating this wall bounce was just an absolute pain. I had to relearn stuff I should have been paying attention to in school. Trust me, just listen to your math teacher. Now, there are some things that had to be done in order for the dodge to work, especially when you're dodging into an enemy. I had to go back and redesign the damage system. So now the damage system has types. So for instance, when you melee an enemy, it has a slight stun so that enemy can't shoot you while you're hitting him with the melee. That would be really annoying as a melee character. But also, a dodge deals 1 damage or some low amount. But now dodge has the damage type of a knockback. So now I can apply all the different damage types to all the different enemies when you hit them. So you get all these different results and not just how much damage you're dealing. So that really helps with, like I said, stuns and knockbacks and those type of things. So enemies are reacting properly to what you're doing to them. Now, there are guns in this game, but I'm going to be honest, I have not put enough time into the weapons to really talk about them here. They're data driven in the way you pick them up, the stats, the critical damage, the damage on them, the reload speed, like all of that is in the weapon data, but it's just not interesting to play with yet, so there's no point in talking about it. Once I have something more interesting with the guns, maybe I'll come show it to you guys, but as of right now, gonna go pew pew. It's not very interesting. But because we're not talking about guns, that gives us a little bit of time to talk about the feature I've been holding back on, the ship. Now, this is something I've been wanting in video games for a very, very long time, combining 2 things, right? So aesthetically, when you first come into the game, the ship drops you off and then it flies away. That's how most games work, or sci-fi games or whatever. But what I wanted was the ship to become a character in the game. So what you'll be able to do is, while you're fighting in the city, the ship will be patrolling around the city, shooting at different stuff, mostly aesthetically, but mostly just patrolling. But every now and then, if the ship just happens to fly by a fight that you're fighting, the ship will fire on enemies that you're fighting, right? But also within the ability system that I'm doing, you will be able to cue the ship to come to you as an attack, right? You could just cast it and the ship will come fight. Or, you know, I'll create some type of passive where you could change the cooldown and bring the cooldown time of the ship maybe patrolling and flying by. I haven't decided exactly how the ship's going to work as far as the ability system, but I do know, just for the cool factor, this is something that I wanted. I wanted that air support. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. So I really shouldn't be showing you guys this. This is still super janky. The systems are undeveloped. The graphics are glitchy, and there's just a lot of bad stuff in this. But I wanted to talk to you guys today, and I hadn't played a lot of video games. I've mostly been working on this game, so I figured I would just show you guys the video game, show you the progress on it, and just, I don't know, just let you see it. Don't judge it too harshly, because it's going to take some time to finish this. And if you want to see more updates on what I've been working on with the game, just let me know, and as I get more stuff to show you, I'll show it to you. All right, talk to you guys later.